talking about demand for NVIDIA's products, I thought we could talk about xAI, Elon Musk's AI company, having just raised $6 billion, no doubt much of which is going to go straight into NVIDIA's pockets. That's a lot of money for a seed round. What do you think about xAI? And I guess my question, going beyond the sort of Elon effect, is what is their competitive positioning compared to all of the other kind of AI foundation companies out there?
I think that we talked about unique data sets, and let's assume for a second that they will have access in some way to Twitter's data set, X's data set. Let's assume that they'll have access to Tesla's data set. Those are unique and interesting and large. Let's assume that also they'll have Elon's ability to actually build his own data centers and things like that, which may be shared infrastructure across all of those three companies. So there may be actually some cost advantages there. And cost does matter in these things, given the amount of cost it takes to build some of these foundation models. That makes it compelling. And remember, Elon was a co-founder of OpenAI, so it's not like he doesn't understand the promise of AI. And then the fourth thing I'd add, which is a little bit left out of the conversation, is Optimus Prime, the robot that's being built. I think it's under the Tesla brand, which could be an AI-controlled humanoid robot, which is another yet application of what this AI could do. So in some ways, it's like, can Elon do a little bit more of AI applied to the physical world, whether it be cars or humanoids, rockets, I don't know. But it's a definitely unique angle on this, and he's certainly a thinker. Now he's got how many more companies to run, so like that's a risk that comes with some benefit. But there is some there.
Yeah, there is some there. I mean, one thing that's interesting about all this is the corporate structure is definitely getting messy. So it's worth noting that xAI is a separate company from X, formerly known as Twitter, is a separate company from Tesla. And I think there are some governance questions, but we can leave those to one side because I think we've done a lot of that discussion about Elon before. But I think we can assume, especially given that xAI is private and X is private, and Tesla is in a lot of ways run like a private company by Elon, it's very founder-led, that yes, there will be this data sharing and that in a lot of ways they will act as a single entity or as a closely allied set of entities. So I agree with that. So thinking about, how does xAI fit into X, how does it fit into Tesla, makes a lot of sense. I think there is really just the Elon effect here. And, what I think about is actually not X or even Tesla. I'm thinking about SpaceX and a little bit the great man theory. I know I hang a lot of shit on Elon, but I also have acknowledged and continue to acknowledge his brilliance in creating these entirely new companies or these new sectors that didn't exist before and revolutionizing cars, revolutionizing space transport. It's not like there weren't rocket companies before SpaceX. He had a better strategy and better execution. Can he do the same with AI? You've been out the last couple of weeks, Emil, but we have been talking a little bit about OpenAI and how they're not in as strong a position as one might imagine, right? OpenAI, again, if we're going to reach back to, the Internet 1.0 boom, could end up being the Netscape of AI, right? Like a really important footnote in history. But if they can't lock in the distribution and so on, then they might not be such a big deal in 10 years. So I think there is some really interesting strategy stuff around AI. And if I could figure out exactly what Elon would be doing with this, then I'd be Elon, except I'm nicer. But this thing is valued, I think it was 18 billion pre-money on this raise. So definitely there are a lot of people who are backing this. And I would say that valuation is basically a valuation on Elon Musk being able to do something different and unique within the AI space.
Yeah. I mean, look, he has many ways to distribute this with his own distribution channels. I think OpenAI has built a brand already that has some distributive power. They have a Microsoft partnership.
So did Netscape, though.
No, they got blocked. That was the whole lawsuit with Microsoft, is they couldn't distribute.
No, but they had distributed
Microsoft's
power.
OS.
They had an incredible brand back then. People loved Netscape.
Yeah, but at the time when Microsoft included Internet Explorer as default on OS, whatever their latest Windows version was, that was like a big problem for Netscape. There was a different construct and distribution. I think for OpenAI, which you can download from the App Store, people are used to downloading from the App Store. I don't think it's a thing. I think it's just a lot of money, and you're competing with Google that's got infinite balance sheet effectively. You're competing with part of Microsoft that's now doing their own AI thing as a hedge that's got infinite money and infinite cloud computing power, right? and Google Cloud. And so you have like really, really serious competitors. Now, one, it's hard to argue that OpenAI has not been the most innovative. They have been the most innovative in terms of actually producing product that people seem to want or seem to be interested in and compelling. And that matters. So does that lead grow? Does that lead shrink? I don't know. Like Google released AI summaries, they seem to like be fine. And maybe just everyone just likes to dump on Google. I don't know. But, Sam's certainly winning the PR war.
Let's come back to that Google thing because I think that's interesting. But just to wrap up my thoughts on xAI and interested in your response is, like I said, I think this is fundamentally an Elon Musk bet that these investors are making. I think this is about what can Elon do that others can't do. Yes, he has access to data and he's got access to capital, but like you said, he has very well-funded competitors who have locked up a lot of the best talent. So what can Elon do? And my question is, which Elon is going to show up? Are we going to get SpaceX and Tesla Elon, or are we going to get Twitter Elon? Because, you may perhaps disagree, Emil, but I don't think that Elon has to date proved to be a strategic genius in operating Twitter the same way he has in operating Tesla or SpaceX. So which guy's going to show up to run this company?
I mean, look, Tesla and SpaceX were not overnight successes. They took a long time to work, and I think Twitter will work in the long term. I think Twitter does have a little bit more of a political kind of mission or ideological mission for Elon. It's not just about making the company worth 10 times as much as what he bought it. It's also about his set of principles as it comes to free speech. He's happy to sacrifice some portion of profit motive for it. xAI probably has a mixed set of motives as well, because he's talked a lot about open versus closed. He's talked a lot about free speech as it relates to OpenAI and not being a censored AI. He's made fun of some of the Gemini sort of outputs that have been, wokeified. So it might be a mixed sort of thing as well, but not purely a profit motive. But, he has been thinking about this for over a decade, and he was like pretty much the sole financing person and co-founder of OpenAI. So I do think this is not sort of I should just do this because thing, where one could argue like Twitter came out of nowhere for him.
Here's the thing. If you look at Tesla and SpaceX, like they have such clearly articulated strategies and they were publicly articulated. They study this shit in business school, right? I'm just reading the new Richard Rummelt book. He talks about how clear SpaceX's strategy was. And it's the same with Tesla. X's strategy, in my view, is not clear. Like you said, there's a bit of ideology, a bit of principle built into that. It's not clear to me what xAI's strategy is, but it does appear that when you look at Elon's most successful companies, they actually have a very well-articulated strategy that is easy for people who are not Elon Musk to understand. And then they execute on it like maniacs, right? Like Tesla, starting with a roadster, going from up market to down market. That'd never been tried with EVs before. SpaceX, it's like, oh, okay, the major cost is the rockets. Let's figure out how to get these bastards to be reusable. Like, they've actually followed very simple strategies, and the genius has been in the execution. So what is xAI's simple strategy? I'd love to know that.
It's a seed round, so I'm sure we'll hear more about that
We will
soon. Right. I do know open versus closed, which is a debate in the AI community right now. He's taken sides on that, and censored, not censored, safe, not. But interestingly, and this is something I know you will appreciate, Elon's been talking about open, but he's also been very consistent that he believes AI is a threat to humanity on the safety side, which is ironic given what you'd think he might align with. So that's an interesting sort of combo there.
There's an internal contradiction, and actually, without wanting to get too deep into the AI gossip, which I know we fall into sometimes, there's been a bit of beef on Twitter between Elon and Jan LeCun, who's, one of the theoretical fathers of LLMs. He works at Meta. He's like their chief scientist or whatever. And Jan LeCun kind of threw shade at Elon. He's like, this guy can't even make up his mind whether this thing's going to destroy the Earth or whether you need to achieve AGI in the next 6 months. And Elon clapped back and they went back and forth. But yeah, simply the idea that Elon isn't sure whether he wants to accelerate AI or sort of decelerate it and do it safely. It's an interesting question to see which way xAI will move.